Hey guys, okay, so I just made another video and I'm pretty sure that's how I start the other one off. I don't know, I'm gonna link it down below and you guys tell me if I start them off the exact same way because I'm pretty sure I start by playing with my hair and then I grab my knees. I don't know. Okay. So as you can tell by the title, this is another book review on The Boy Who Sneaks in My Bedroom Window by Kristy Moseley. I'm not exactly 100% sure that's how you pronounce her last name. That's what I got from the gist of it. That's what the book looks like. I don't know, it's a very cute cover. Honestly, that's probably one of the reasons why I got it, because I was very curious, like, wait, the boy who seeks my bedroom window, like, is this what, like, I don't know, honestly, I thought it was going to be a murder mystery, and then I read the little, like, book description that comes on, like, Amazon.com and, like, the Barnes & Noble website, and, like, all those websites, they all have, like, the same book description. Then I realized that it was totally not a murder mystery at all, and it was something completely different. Because I was assuming, like, oh, the boy that sneaks through my bedroom window, like, he sneaks through the bedroom window and, like, kills her or something. Apparently not. So yeah, I'm just gonna read that little excerpt real quick. Amber Walker and her older brother Jake have an abusive father. One night, her brother's best friend Liam sees her crying and climbs through her bedroom window to comfort her. That one action sparks a love-hate relationship that spans over the next 8 years. Liam is now a confident, flirty player who has never had a girlfriend before. Amber is still emotionally scarred from the abuse she suffered at the hands of her father. Together they make an unlikely pair. The relationship has always been a rocky one, but what happens when Amber starts to view her brother's best friend a little differently? And how will her brother, who has always been a little overprotective, react when he finds out the pair are getting closer? Okay, so obviously not a murder mystery. Basically, the girl and the boy are both physically abused by the father. When they were younger, the brother Jake would always kind of like, the girl Amber always was the one to screw up. And Jake would always kind of put himself in harm's way purposely so that the father would turn on him instead of Amber. Yeah. It's actually really sad to like hear it. It's like, wow, like that's an awesome brother. Like he just sits there and like the dad just screaming at Amber, not even like really hitting her, just maybe he'll grab her arm or something. But then Jake will purposely like make him mad and Jake gets beaten like senselessly. They talk about once where like he was beaten so badly that he couldn't eat for days. Yeah. Later on, they don't really like, they kind of skip like 5 years or something. Like they're like, oh, like, or I think it's like 8 years later. But in that 8 years, Jake and his best friend Liam, who had now been sleeping in the same bed as Amber for 8 years, they just sleep together. It had started off with like Liam accidentally fell asleep, and he kept happening like every time he would see her like crying through the windows, because they're next door neighbors and their windows like line up perfectly so that like he can see into her room, which is a little creepy if you think about it. But he sees her crying like a couple of nights and he just instantly goes in there to comfort her, falls asleep, and it just became a habit and they've kind of been sleeping together since. But yeah, one day Liam and Jake come home from like hockey practice and basically the father tried to rape Amber. And they came home and saw that, stopped it, immediately just like kicked him out of the house. I think Jake had wanted to call the cops, but Amber was like, no, you can't do that. They kicked him out and they said that if he ever like came back, then they would call the cops or whatever. But yeah, so the father's out of the house now, and the mom, I don't remember what her job was, but for some reason she's always like out of the house. She comes home like once a month or whatever. So it's basically just Jake and Amber kind of raising themselves, and it's kind of funny because during the day Liam acts like a total asshole to Amber, like kind of like jokingly flirting with her, and like Amber gets like really mad at him, and just like they just argue and they bicker like a normal like sister would bicker with her brother's best friend. And then all of a sudden things change, and it's really funny because this is kind of a spoiler, so if you guys are really interested in reading this book, you might want to stop watching this video. Okay, so spoiler alert, blah blah blah. Once things start to change between them and they kind of realize that they've both fallen for each other, they don't really want to tell the brother Jake yet because he's very overprotective. So they have to kind of hide it from him. So they have to act really mean to each other, and then Amber's all confused. She's like, wait, which Liam's the real Liam? Like the one that sleeps with me every night and like says that he really cares about me? Or the one that like acts like an asshole? Like she's kind of stuck. But they eventually start dating. Sorry, had to tell you guys. And people find out that he has a girlfriend, but since they haven't told the guy Jake yet, they can, like, nobody knows, which Jake like finds out like a couple days later. How do I explain this? Basically, Liam and Jake were considered like the hot shit of like their high school. They're like the stars of the hockey team and blah blah blah. So all the girls kind of make a bet for who's gonna be the next one to sleep with Liam, because they found out that he has this girlfriend. They're like, oh, like, you're right, like that's not gonna last. Like, let's see who can get him to crack first. It turns up to be like a little over like $1,000 or something, because each girl that wants to do the bet puts in like $20, and it turns into this huge thing. Well, because they really wanted to like all these girls were like throwing themselves, she thought it would be funny, Amber, to flirt like completely, like just flamelessly. Why can't I think of the word that I was going for right there? Shamelessly. That's what I was going for. She just I can't say it. She shamelessly flirts with him. Just like she comes into school wearing like a teeny tiny little mini skirt and like a little tank top, and she's all like, yeah, look at me. And she like walks up and she's like flirting with him, like rubbing her hand up his leg while everybody in the cafeteria is watching. Like everything she does is so funny, and because nobody knows that they're dating, everybody's like, whoa. And like all these girls are fighting like to get his attention, and because they're dating, like obviously he's giving her all the attention. So like everybody's just, oh, it's so funny. Obviously she wins the bet. And they all give like a really hard time about it. They're like, whoa, this wasn't fair. Like, oh, it was funny. But yeah. Another spoiler, the dad and his new family move back into town. And her new, I guess it's her stepbrother? It's her dad married somebody else, but the other woman already had a kid. So it's that kid there, I guess it's her stepbrother, is now going to the same school as them. And he knows who they are. Doesn't know if they were abused though. And has no idea why, like, they don't want to see their dad anymore. But he kind of becomes buddy-buddy with them. And it turns out that the dad is still doing the things that he used to do to this new guy, which I totally don't remember. What is her stepbrother's name? I don't remember. The stepbrother apparently is like really hot. And her best friend ends up dating him for like a year or something like that. I think it's like Johnny or something. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Johnny. But the dad and the new wife also had another kid who he hasn't abused the little kid yet because he's like 1 year old, maybe 2. So he hasn't abused him yet. But once the mom finds out that he is abused in the past, they leave him. They end up staying at Amber and Jake's house for a little while, just that they can kind of like really get rid of him, and like everything basically just blows up. The dad's freaking out, drunk. Amber ends up getting really hurt, and then she ends up in the hospital like twice. Yeah, Liam ends up in jail. Like, the whole book just takes a turn for the worst. The only thing I didn't like about this book was the ending. It was seriously the cheesiest ending yet. Like, I've never read a book with like a worse ending. Okay, even Twilight had like a less, I guess, obvious ending. They all live happily ever after. Blah blah blah. He gets a job as a professional hockey player. They're all rich. They get married. La la la. Butterflies and unicorns and friggin' like rainbows everywhere. It's so stupid. I hate endings like that. Which, I mean, like, the happy ending thing would have been okay, but the fact that like he becomes like a professional hockey player. Yeah, okay. Alright. I guess this video's been long enough. Thank you guys for watching. Love you guys.